What's the worst haircut you've ever gotten? Have we done this question before?
No, we haven't. I can tell you about the worst haircut my sister's ever gotten.
Okay, you can do that. But what is your worst haircut?
There was one time I think it was like early college.
Yeah.
I had short hair, but it also had a bunch of layers and it just didn't look very good. It was kind of like a mom haircut, honestly.
Oh, yeah? I don't remember this at all.
Just wasn't good. When my hair's short, I like it to just be kind of like blunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And I didn't do it again. I don't know. I had gone to like a new hairstylist and I don't think they really got the vibe.
Yeah.
It's okay.
A good thing about me having a bad memory is I just don't remember if you ever looked bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I don't think, looking back on the pictures, I'm like, oh, that was terrible. But in the moment, I didn't really have strong feelings about it.
Have you never had a haircut where you walked out of the salon?
And cried?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
I've had a couple bad haircuts in my life. Most of them are my own fault. So there's 3 that come to mind.
3? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And it's not so much the specific haircut, it's more so, I guess 4 actually. Now another one just popped into my head, but
I didn't realize you were so
it was more my beard.
like into your hair.
I am. It's one of the things, the vanity type things that I actually pay attention to.
His hair.
You would think
That's so funny.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. I'm constantly afraid of going bald.
Yeah.
I'm going bald at the moment.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
You're not.
I 100% am. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Regardless. Okay, fine. But for some reason, I don't care about clothes. I don't care about jewelry. I don't care. But my hair and my beard, for some reason, I try. And this is recent. Because what I'm going to talk about, these bad haircuts, are because I didn't care about my hair.
Yeah.
I think what it is now is because I finally found a hairstyle that I like, that now I don't want it to go away.
So I can always tell when you've put in your curl cream, not because of seeing your, they look different and like better when you have it in, but I can tell when you're walking towards me.
Yeah.
Like you just have like a glow about you.
Well, I just feel so much better.
You're just walking with confidence. I'm like, oh, he must have put in his curl cream.
Yeah.
And then you get closer. I'm like, yeah, the curls look great. He's got his curl cream in.
So haircut number 1 that was very bad was around sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
And this one was not, I would go back to this. This is one of those where I was very happy with the haircut at the time. Looking back on it, might have been not my best choice. I had a faux hawk with dyed red tips in the front and in the back. I looked for a picture and I could not find one.
Really? Oh man.
You know what it is?
I remember that haircut.
Whenever we got pictures taken in high school, my mom would make me prim up. Like she would just you can't have the faux hawk for the picture.
Yeah, you can't have frosted tips for the picture.
So I don't have any physical evidence of this.
I'm sure your mom has some.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
But I just remember that being a haircut that I loved, that I would definitely go back to. Another questionable style choice in high school was, so I have very curly hair, obviously, and I wanted the straight emo bangs because I'm an emo boy. So I remember there was one party, I think it was sophomore year as well, but I straightened my hair. I took my sister's hair straightener and I straightened my bangs down and put on like a flat, dude.
Oh my God.
Quite possibly the worst I have ever looked.
I think the worst hairstyle you ever had was the lack of a haircut.
This is another one I'm talking about. This is on the list because I do have a picture of that. There was a period in college.
It was like the end of college. No, it was like
end of college.
Towards the end of college.
Where, when I think about it, from the year of 2017 until 2020, just didn't care for myself at all, like my physical appearance.
This was in 2016, the one that you're thinking of. It was before we got married.
It bleeds into...
Yeah.
Okay, so from 2016, basically the end of college until October of 2020 when I decided to get sober and get my life together, I literally could not care less about who I was as a person, how I looked. It all was part of my negative self-image.
Yeah.
So I didn't cut my hair for a year and a half. And as you can see, it's kind of tamped down now, but the hair just grows out. So the good thing about the mullet is I can shave the sides because the sides are really the problem. So there's a picture of me with like my hair. I'm not even kidding you.
It is huge.
It's horrendous. I'm also
so
50
bad.
pounds overweight. And we went to a friend's wedding.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. Here's what's worse. Here's what's worse than that. Not only did we go to a friend's wedding, we went to my grandfather's funeral. And
You didn't cut your hair before?
I could not be arsed to go and get a haircut. This is how bad my self-image got.
Oh my gosh.
Because I thought, oh, it doesn't matter. If I get a haircut, if I don't get a haircut, I look bad anyway. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Let me see. Another one, sophomore year in high school, same type of thing, or in college, didn't care, was just annoyed with my hair, so I just shaved it.
Yeah, you did.
Dude. And it was poor.
I forgot about that.
It was poorly done. Like I basically turned myself into a skinhead, but I like missed a couple of patches in my. It was horrible.
And you still had the long, full beards.
Yeah, I was fitting in with some people that I didn't really want to fit in
Yeah.
with. In Birmingham, Alabama.
It made you look a lot older.
Way older, way more mean.
Yeah.
Just in general. Honestly, I've noticed with the shorter beard, I look younger with the shorter beard.
You do.
I like the longer beard, but I get it. The shorter beard is fine.
I like you both ways.
And then one honorable mention. Sorry, we've been going on haircuts for a while.
You've had a very complicated hair journey. I have not.
Yeah, you maintain like a normal hairstyle throughout your life. You've
Yeah.
never really done anything crazy.
No. And
I keep trying to get you to dye your hair black.
see, the reason I won't dye my hair
Man,
until
I want you to
have
do that.
I'm just too lazy
Yeah,
to
to
go
upkeep.
every like 6 weeks or something. And that is so expensive.
Okay, sure.
Like I just don't. I'm too cheap
If
and lazy.
you went and saw Peter, everything would be fine.
I'll go visit Peter sometime.
Peter's the guy that cuts my hair. He's also one of my clients. He's fantastic.
Yeah, Peter's great.
Peter would take care of you.
I know he will.
Anyway, last thing is my beard. And because of this, I do not allow, not even Peter, I do not allow anyone to touch my beard. We were getting prepared for our wedding.
Yeah.
And I went to, I don't know, some barber in Ybor City and just sat in the chair and was tortured for 45 plus minutes. And I look back on those pictures, I hated the way my beard looked.
Really?
Hated it.
What was wrong with it?
I don't know.
thought
I
it
couldn't
looked-
pinpoint it.
I thought it looked normal.
No, you know what it was? Is it looked too manufactured. You know, like the lineups where it looks like it's a Lego hair piece that you just stick on. You know what I mean? Like if that's your beard style, totally fine. That doesn't work for me.
You're a rugged man.
The beard that I like is a 3-day-old beard. It's like I shaved it 3 days ago and it's grown in a little bit more. There are a couple stray hairs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look like I'm doing too much. The lineup, like grease looking, you know Drake. Drake's
I've heard
beard.
of Drake.
That type of beard is just miserable. And that's what I got. It was
Yeah.
like faded into the, hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it. So those are my, man,
I think
we're
you looked
unpacking some
great.
trauma.
But yeah, I've never done anything particularly exciting with my hair.
I
It's like I'll go for a haircut and they're like, "What do you want your hair
2
to
inches
look
off the
like?"
top.
And I'm like, "I don't know, a little shorter than it is now."
Yeah.
About here would
funny.
be good.
It's funny that I found my preferred hairstyle from a meme. Like I just was like, for my competition, I was like, what's the weirdest hairstyle I could get?
Yeah.
A handlebar mustache and a mullet. And
you loved it.
Really loved the mullet. I was like, I'm going to keep this. So
Yeah.
I'm still
And it looks
rocking with
great
it.
on you.
I like it a lot. I think the curls actually work with
Yeah,
it.
I think maybe I've just never found a hairstyle that I really loved.
Black hair.
I'm not getting black hair.
Why?
I'll look like the Grim Reaper.
That's the point.
I don't want to look like
I'm just trying to
Morticia.
I'm trying to push you more and more towards the goth woman that I've always
I don't think
wanted.
I'm ever gonna have black hair.
Sad.
I might go for dark brown at some point.
No, if you're going dark brown, you might as well just go all the
I
way.
don't want to look like Morticia.
You don't know. I didn't think the mullet would be good until I tried it.
Yeah, but that's a much more low stakes thing than dyeing your entire head black.
No, incorrect. It'll be like you said, 6 months. Incorrect.
But if it doesn't look good, you can't just let it grow out.
It's going to look good. I think is what you don't understand. Like it's going to look good.
Whatever.
What are you talking about? You're very pale. Black
Yeah.
hair looks incredibly good on pale people.
I don't know that it does.
It does. It 100% does. Maybe in my ecosystem.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I'll think about it.
so that's 11 minutes on hairstyles. Check that off of your bingo card for this fitness podcast. We got to stop calling this a fitness podcast.
Yeah,
because it's just a variety podcast, but you know, it is what it is.
It's our variety show.
It's my exercise in vanity that anybody would want to listen to me talk for more than 5 minutes.
I think a lot of people like to listen to you talk.
I'm feeling
You're very fun to talk to.
I've recorded a lot of content today, so I think
you're just kind of burnt out.
I recorded 3 reels, a long form video. I think I'm just done.
Well, I think you're somebody that people really like to talk to.
I don't believe you, but thank you.
No, you are. You're somebody that I think people are often interested to hear talk.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm the opposite of that. I think people like to talk to me, but I think it's because I'm a good listener.
Well, you're a fantastic listener.
Like I don't really have a lot to add to conversations or like to generate topics, or I'm bad at coming up with questions for people a lot of the time.
Okay. Here's what I'll say.
What?
I didn't mean to cut you off,
That's
but
okay.
what from my observation, I've been with you for a very long time.
You have.
You're a fantastic listener.
Yeah.
You do have stuff to add. You just don't like to step on anybody, which is why, like, if somebody wanted to go and look at the percentages of how much I talk versus how much you talk on this podcast, it's probably like 80-20.
Yeah.
Maybe 70-30. But you have incredibly insightful things to say. You just say them and then you like throw them in and then you're done.
I like pepper it.
Yes. Whereas when I'm having a conversation, and this could be viewed as negative, but I'm always thinking about like 3 topics ahead. Like, how does this thing that we're talking about relate to this in pop culture, or this in, self-improvement, or so I'm always like branching off into 10 different things.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that can be helpful in a small talk environment when you don't want to get stuck in conversation. You don't want to get stuck with somebody and it'd be awkward and be like, oh, well, I guess the conversation's over now. But it can be harmful in a situation like this where I'm on to the next topic where you had 3 more things to say.
I don't feel like I usually have 3 more things to say.
Which is why we work well together.
I think I just genuinely enjoy listening to what other people have to say. I just people like to talk about themselves, and I'm really happy to hear it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I genuinely am.
Well, I think that's why you're good at your job, or when you were treating people, that was why you had success, was because you had to bring communication out of these people, and I think you're very easy to talk to.
Yeah.
So that, can help. I
could never host a podcast.
By yourself?
And like be the host.
I think you could if it was very specific.
Yeah.
This is the thing. When we started the podcast, I didn't have any idea like how hard it would be to talk for this long without a direction.
Yeah.
So when we restarted the podcast, I was like, well, it has to be in some way fitness adjacent.
Or at least discuss something each time.
Right. Because there are moments where I'm like, I don't have anything left to talk about.
Yeah.
But so what if it was like a knitting podcast?
I would have a lot to say.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, I think anybody, if you get them talking on a subject that they're passionate about, could talk about it for a long time. The problem is, in normal human conversation, you don't want to overstate your passion for something.
Right.
But on a podcast, it's like, dude,
that's the whole point.
I'm overstating my passion until the cows come home.
That's why we're doing it.
And also, I'm branching off into sub passions that, I don't talk to anybody about anime. I don't have anybody in my life that but on here I can talk about it.
Sure.
Or, random Arsenal, signings. I don't have anybody to talk about that with.
Yeah.
But on here I can talk about it if I wanted to.
That's true. I like Arsenal. I would love to talk about them.
You name 3 players on the
Saka.
Okay, there's 1. Of course you know. Yes.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
2 more.
I can't pronounce his name, but he's the one who's like Armenian or something.
Oh, see, here's the problem. We just sold him.
Ah, dang it.
Xhaka.
Yeah.
We just sold him, which was very sad. But he was with the club for 7 years or 6 years maybe, and he's just been sold.
Yeah, and there's the goalie who's blonde.
Name him.
I'm bad at names.
The goalie who's blonde, I'll give you that. That's Aaron Ramsdale.
Yes, that's what I said.
Also, the United States national team goalie, Matt Turner, is our backup goalie.
Oh, isn't that nice?
So there you go.
And I know the coach,
Mikel, yes. So you watched the documentary with me.
I did, and I don't know all their names. Shoot me.
That's fine.
I know who they are.
That's fine.
I could probably pick 5 Arsenal players out of a lineup.
Yeah, you absolutely could. You absolutely could.
They all play soccer. I know that about all of them.
They all play football.
They do.
Okay. Let's pivot.
Okay. To fitness?
The reason I said pivot is because I have pivot written down in here. It's fitness adjacent.
All right.
So I've been thinking a lot about program hopping. But I want to, so program hopping, for those that don't know, is like you start a new program, a new strength or bodybuilding style program, and after 2 weeks, you're like, this really isn't doing anything for me. Let me move to something else. Because
I see no problem with this.
Oh, it's absolutely a problem. What are you talking about?
Well, what if you don't like it?
So let's discuss the nuances of it.
Okay.
In a fitness context, the body cannot respond
You have to give it more
quickly
time.
enough.
You have to give it more time.
Right.
Okay.
But you bring up a good point about if it is something that absolutely feels like torture, then yes, maybe
Modify.
I would still recommend that you stay with a fitness program for at least a month.
Okay.
Because you just don't know
But you don't have to stick it out to the end of the program. If after a month it's still like you hate
listen,
it.
man, I'm more and more I'm tilting towards just finish it out. 12 weeks. Give it 12 because your body and even your comprehension and your capacity to do the movements will not be good enough to make a judgment on anything in 2, 4, even 6 weeks.
Interesting.
Honestly. But the reason that I wanted to talk about it was more in a broad scope of like, when do you pivot out of something? Because I've been thinking a lot this week. Deload weeks are rough for me because I have just time to think, which I've been thinking a lot about. I've been doing YouTube for a year and a half, Instagram for a year, coaching for a year. Is this working? Should I pivot? Should I change something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything that I read and see says keep going.
Yeah.
But in my head, and I think this is because everything is faster paced, you think like, if you're doing something for a little bit of time and you're not seeing massive results, you got to switch, you got to pivot. And I think, like we talked about last week, the fear of missing out on gains, it's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
But with your body, I know as a coach and from personal experience and from coaching people, time is your friend.
Yeah.
A bad program that you adhere to and that you push yourself with is going to yield results better than the best program that you do 2 weeks of and then switch to like a 5-3-1 and then you switch back to push-pull legs and then, I would say, unless it is absolutely torturous, like you're missing sessions because you hate it so much, stick to it.
No matter what it is.
Because I think with this caveat, you should be intelligent enough when you choose the program to understand yourself. So for me, for example, I am not going to join in a CrossFit gym and stick with it for 6 months. But I am intelligent enough and know enough about like why I train, what my ultimate motives are, what I derive pleasure from in the gym to never sign up for that or to never join that program.
Hey, same.
So
I wouldn't darken the door of a CrossFit gym. They're way too intense for me. I don't have anything against CrossFit. I just am not into the flailing. Really.
I'm also not into another good one is calisthenics.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that either.
Handstand and all this. First
I don't
of all,
need to do a handstand.
Calisthenics are for people that weigh 130 pounds. Sorry. Put some meat on your frame and pick up some metal. But second of all, I'm not interested in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm making a joke, calisthenics people. Don't be mad.
I'm not interested in powerlifting, personally.
There you go.
I have no desire to do that.
Powerlifting is stupid. It's a dumb sport. It's stupid.
But
I
you
love
love
it. Absolutely. You can rag on powerlifting till the cows come home. It deserves to be made fun of. It's dumb at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's boring to watch as a spectator. It's boring to be a part of the meets. It's dumb. But you know what it is? It is a vehicle to better yourself. So if that vehicle is CrossFit or calisthenics,
do it.
Go for it.
Yeah. Just don't make me do it.
Right. In the realm of like making changes, I'm trying to think of ways. I wonder if you have any ideas of like what is a good indicator that maybe, yes, a pivot is in store for you or a change is something that could be beneficial for you rather than just say, let me just stick it out. Do you have any idea of anything like that?
I mean, I guess if you just feel dread to go and do it.
Yeah, dread is a good indicator.
You know, if you just can hardly bring yourself to do it, you don't look forward to it even a little bit, and you just have this like dread that's pervading your entire life. It's like, man, I have to go to the gym tomorrow, and so my night is ruined, and my next morning is like my whole day.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Clearly, that's whatever you're doing in the gym is not working for you, and you need to change it.
I would push back just a little bit because I don't think people are honest enough with themselves.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to fitness.
Yeah.
Because dread,
sometimes you just don't want to.
Right.
That's
different. The way you're describing dread, absolutely.
I'm talking like there's a black rainy cloud over your head.
I think the general public views the gym like that. I work, when I tell you that 90% of my job is just getting people to darken the door. 90% of it, I'm not exaggerating, is just my name being on their schedule and them not wanting to have me waste my time is all that's getting them in the gym. They don't want to be there. They do not want to be doing the things that they're doing, right? So is that dread, or is that just, I don't like this? You know,
that's
I don't think
question.
It's hard to be self-aware in that situation.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways to be fit and to pursue fitness that involve things other than the gym. You know, playing a sport, running outside, going for walks, and maybe trying to include more of that. Like if you're not sure, maybe try and pepper in a little bit of something different and see if that changes your outlook on the gym.
That's
like
a good
maybe
point.
You just don't need to be in the gym 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to be in the gym 2 or 3 days and then have like 2 days of something totally different but still fitness related. You know, start playing pickleball like everybody else. I don't know.
Like the whole world.
Like literally everybody.
I think it's just America. Anyway.
And then see if that doesn't change your outlook on going to the gym.
I think that's a really good point.
I think you need, a lot of people need variety. You don't need variety. You're
I'm a
very
very
special
guy.
bird in that way. But most people need some form of variety.
All bodybuilders and powerlifters are like me.
Wow, you've found your people.
We get into the sport. It's like the swimmer's body illusion. People think that you get this body because you swim. No. You have long arms and a long torso.
And you're good at swimming.
You get in the pool. You're good at it, so you keep doing it.
Yeah.
This repetitive pursuit of the same exercises and the same type of foods. We like this. This stimulates us.
It's like a personality thing.
And so that's why if you do powerlifting for a year and you're like, I'm looking for a little bit more variety, it's like, dude, the sport is not for you.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're going to squat, bench, and deadlift until the cows come home. You got to be cool with doing that.
Right. And so I think a lot of people who do need variety might dread coming to the gym so often, doing the same exercises over and over. So maybe finding a way to change it up a little bit, do something different, get outside and be fit instead of just being in the gym could maybe do a lot.
My thing is like muscle mass is incredibly important.
Yeah.
And it becomes incredibly more important as you age.
Right. And that's why I'm not saying stop going to the gym and just do other fitness stuff. Like, I think it's still important to do the weight training.
I am 100% with you. I'm just trying to build off of that.
Yeah.
Yes. Muscle, like,
you have to do both.
Go for walks. But this idea, like, you just do one thing.
Yeah.
I'm out for blood today. I am out for blood. This idea of doing like the bare minimum, what kind of life is that?
Yeah.
What, like, do something and do something well. I don't care what it is, but pursue it with passion. God almighty. I've been thinking about this a lot. It's like, I'm just battling people all the time, battling them to do anything to better themselves. What is it? What will wake people up?
I understand. I've been there with
I know you have
patience.
with patience the same way.
Yeah, it's like get out of bed, literally.
I don't want this to sound preachy because I have areas in my life that I have the same just because I'm good at going to the gym and taking care of myself does not mean that I'm a perfect human being. So I am also talking to myself about this. But if the bare minimum is 22 minutes. 22 minutes. That is what we have recommended. I say we, but the general public or the health associations for staving off muscle loss, which is directly correlated to a longer and better lifespan. 22 minutes.
Every day or
No.
how many days a week?
In a week.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
That is not hard. You could do that in one day.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So why? What do we have to do to make this more enticing for people?
I mean, I think that's really hard. I don't know. I don't have the answer.
I also don't have the answer, but this is what I've been thinking about this for months and months. I want to be a better coach. And in my opinion, to be a better coach, I've got to incentivize the activities that are going to make you better.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I think our society and our lives are set up in such a way that we're accustomed to being non-active. You know, I mean, kids aren't playing outside as much.
Yeah.
There's just more indoor stuff. In big cities like where we live, I think there's safety concerns sometimes of
And it's just not
being
set up to
outside,
walk.
Not set up to walk. I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
I think it's the way that a lot of our cities and towns and societies and jobs are set up, unfortunately. And so I think people have to go out of their way to be active and fit like they maybe didn't used to have to do. I don't know.
No, I'm going to push back on you again there.
Yeah, please do.
I don't think, yes, our cities are set up poorly. Yes, there are safety concerns for being outside. However, at the end of the day, you're an adult human being. You have to. Life is about making the choices.
Yeah.
You can't just blame the way that the city is set up and sit on your couch for the rest of your life.
I agree with you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We got to stop talking about this or I'm just going to keep ranting forever and ever. I think
it's a really hard thing though, is because we know how good it is for people, and I think that this is a problem that like a lot of people are thinking about.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't think anybody's come up with a real answer or solution yet, but it is such an important question and such an important thing to be thinking
We've come
about.
up with a solution. It's called Ozempic. It's called shoot drugs into your body and don't ever do work ever again.
I mean, but that still doesn't solve the activity problem. It solves the weight problem.
Right. Exactly.
It doesn't solve the fitness problem.
I don't think so. Again, nothing against Ozempic. If you are prescribed Ozempic or one of the other
I think it's a
tens
tool.
of thousands,
I don't think it's a solution.
It's fantastic for people who have had immense struggles with weight control or with diabetes. Fantastic. Modern medicine, excellent that it's figured out something like that.
It's not going to increase your muscle mass.
It's not. And it's not going to the more that we learn about longevity, diet plays a moderate amount of factor, but physical fitness, specifically muscle retention, plays a massive, massive, massive role. And I just think even just resistance bands, like something like we've talked about 1,000 times. It just has to be some form of resistance training. I don't know. I meant for this to be kind of like self-reflective of myself because I've been so down in the dumps about
and you've been wanting to switch programs?
Not so much switch switch courses. Like I talked about, stop doing YouTube, stop doing content, become a teacher, but it's like the easy way out.
Yeah.
So to end this on a more positive note is like, if you have started to make a change and it is incredibly difficult, like for me, the content creation thing, for a lot of people staying in the gym, staying active, staying on a diet, just keep pushing. Just do the best you can day by day. Try to limit your scope to one day at a time.
Yeah.
And just do the thing that you're supposed to do that day.
Yeah. And
then move on to the next day.
I think one of the hardest but most important things in life is perseverance.
Yeah, true.
I
know. And unfortunately,
it is so hard to persevere.
It's kind of being bred out of us a little bit.
It's just so important.
I don't think it's very...
grit and resilience and perseverance are hugely important, and I don't think it's something that's talked about enough
that's what I was
taught
say.
to people enough.
It's not taught very much anymore. It's not celebrated in society very much because Oh, here we go. We're getting on social media again. On social media, you don't see any of the stuff that people put in when the cameras are off. You don't see all like a lot of the times people are faking, their stuff on social media, but a lot of people have come to this point and they've become overnight successes. Whereas we perceive them as overnight successes, but they have been working at something for 10, 15 years through all the garbage, all of the self-doubt, all of the whatever it is. So this is a big problem and I do this all the time. I look at people, I'm like, why do they have, 100,000 followers? It's like, it seems like I only know them from one video. How do they have 100,000? And then you look at their channel, they have 1,500 videos. They've been making content since 2012. You're like, oh my God. And then you can see their analytics where they sat at a flat line of growth for years. And then one thing and
they persevered.
Popped off. Yeah, right. And it works the same way with a body composition change. It works the same way with a career. Life is like that. So yeah, just keep going with it. Sorry if sound like I'm yelling at you. I don't mean to be, but I'm just in a mood today. I can't help it. Tired.
It's okay.
Haven't been to the gym in 5 days. That's what it is. I got a lot of rage building up inside of me. This is why I go to the gym.
You're ready to go lift some weights.
When I tell you I cannot wait to get in the gym again. I hate deloading so much. It's so miserable. It's so boring.
You always need it though, and you need it.
I know I need it, but this week I have not gained the boost in energy that I usually do on a deload. I don't know what's going on. I'm not sleeping well. It's the summer. Summer sucks. Come for me, summer lovers. I will fight you forever. I wanted to also talk about something interesting. We watched the John Mulaney comedy special last night.
Oh, yeah, we did. It was very funny.
Really, really funny, but also like incredibly poignant and impactful just from like an addict's perspective. If you don't know anything about what happened with him, he was a huge comedian in, 15, 16. Yeah. When we were going through college, massive on social media, very big, like one of the up and comers. When COVID hit, it was kind of a throwaway story, like, oh, he's in rehab. I didn't even know he was in rehab for drugs. I thought he was just an alcoholic.
I thought it was alcohol, yeah.
He was in rehab for narcotics, cocaine, bunch of Xanax, everything. Klonopin. And I would recommend, if you have an addict in your life or if you have dealt with addiction, to watch this special. Because it is really, really funny, but
he was very real about what he went through.
Incredibly real about what he went through. I think the most impactful thing for me was he's telling a story about his intervention. And the way that we perceive interventions from an outside perspective is like the person wants to be saved.
Right.
They just need the kindness of friends to show them their way.
And they'll be like, that's right. I don't really want to be doing
I don't want to be on drugs anymore.
You're right. I never wanted to be a drug addict in the first place.
Where that is actually 9 times out of 10 the exact opposite. And so he talks about being angry.
Pissed.
Being angry in his intervention. Like, how could you do this to me?
And he was trying to turn all of his friends against the lady
against the counselor. Yeah. He was like, if I
can turn them against her, then it'll all come crashing down. Yeah. And it's like, wow, he really does not want to be saved.
And I always think back to when I was at my deepest point and being like, if someone outside, like say my mom had realized what was going on and had told me, you got to get yourself clean, I would have been like, shut up. I'm good. Everything's fine.
Right.
Nothing. Honestly, wrong. Even if you had said, hey, I would have been like, what is she talking about? Like you start to justify every action in a way that's like insane.
Your brain just does some really crazy gymnastics.
Dude, I remember I would be like, this was the worst, was when I first started drinking beer really, really heavily, I would get Yuengling. Or what was the one we used to always get? Was
Miller
that
Lite?
it? No. Because I switched to Miller Lite. Because here's this. So I think it was Yuengling. So I would get the 12 pack and I started to think, oh man, this is really bad for me. So I switched to Miller Lite because it was less calories. I think it's only like 10 calories less. But in my addict brain, I was
this
like,
was the healthy choice.
I was like, oh, I'm good now. I've made the right choice. And I would get like, I would strategically pick foods that I thought would be lower calories, or I would get a bag of goldfish because I was like, goldfish, you'd look at the calories and it's like 110 per serving, right? But you'd get the massive bag of goldfish, but you'd think Or at least I would think in my head, like, oh, it's low calories. I'm good. Like I can eat. These are fine. So I found myself when he was telling his stories, like realizing that the pattern of thinking was very much the same. And you know what's really scary too is like, I think about recently I've been thinking about like, well, maybe I'm not an alcoholic.
Yeah, maybe I'm over it.
Dude, that's dangerous. But because I never went to rehab and because I never had like a real rock bottom moment where I was like selling my body for whatever, you know, these terrible stories, right? But they're, you know, I did have my own version of that.
Right.
But in my head, it was
your
like,
entire life didn't fall apart.
I never lost my house. I never lost my job. I never, you know, cheated on you or whatever terrible thing. So my brain then starts to justify again and be like, it wasn't that bad.
Like you're not really
an addict. You could handle it. And I'm like, what is happening? It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I don't know. I just thought that was an very, very interesting perspective. And even if you don't have anyone who has dealt with addiction, which I find it hard to believe because there's a lot of us, watch it and try and empathize with like his resistance to getting sober.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm so thankful, but I'm also still, he said, to this day, incredibly pissed. And I think that's just how you feel. I have nostalgia for the worst time in my life. And in dark moments, I'm like, I'll just go back to that and that'll be fine because that's comfortable. That's scary. But I think that's going to be with me for the rest of my life.
I think it probably will.
Scary stuff, man. But it's also really, really funny.
Oh, it was so funny. We laughed so hard.
Some of his best. And I liked his earlier specials.
I loved
but they were disjointed. They were... This is manic, of course, you know, and he makes and he's reference like, I wonder
why that was.
Yeah, he makes reference to that because he was, you know, addicted to cocaine from like 2012 when he was working at SNL. Jeez, man, he's lucky to be alive, honestly. But
he is very lucky.
You start to empathize with like, you can have those two emotions at the same time. The ultimate thankfulness that you're given a second chance, that you have gotten your life back on track through the actions of other people and through your own actions, because sobriety is very individual. You have to take an active role.
Yeah.
But also, in my case, it's that longing for the simplicity of being in my addiction. For him, it was the anger that he felt. It you know, having two emotions at once that seem to be counter to each other is very weird. It's a very weird feeling. Because I can have the same thought at the same time. I don't ever want to go back to that. I was miserable. It was horrible. It was just not who I was as a human being. And also at the same time think, yeah, but it would be fun.
I loved it.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I don't know. You got anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
Can we put this podcast out? This got dark.
I think that's okay.
Man, I don't know. I've been yelling at people. And then also just talking about addiction forever.
I think this is a podcast of just the two of us talking about whatever we have come into our heads. And, you know, I think we try and keep it constructive.
I think I'm getting...
If not always uplifting, at least it's constructive. And I don't know.
I'm getting a little scared because I started listening to the Tim Ferriss show.
Okay.
And he was very suicidal. And his family got mad that he was talking about that in a public forum.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I always, you know, I just want everybody to know these are my thoughts and my opinions. They're not held by anybody else.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to reflect badly on, like, I had a great childhood. I was brought up very well. I love my family.
Yeah.
But, you know, you put stuff like this out on the internet and people always try and psychoanalyze and, you know. So I guess that's where the fear comes from.
I think everybody's life is their own to share.
Yeah.
You know what?
And I've always been an open book. I just don't care.
Well, and I think it's important, like, you know, we both had very great childhoods.
Yeah.
We have wonderful parents who we love. That doesn't mean that we don't have hard things or things that we struggle with in our life. And I think that that's important to share, is that everybody has things that they struggle with. I think the reason... I don't know why we don't talk about mental health more, But I think it's really important to be honest about what you go through. And if you're comfortable sharing it on an open forum,
right,
you're right, and I think you're privileged to do that.
And I've always been comfortable talking about this with people.
Yeah.
And I guess the podcast is just an extension of conversations that I have with normal people. But sometimes I do get self-conscious about like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you said, if my story in any way, shape, or form impacts somebody positively, then what do I care if people think I'm an addict? I am. Yeah. Cool. Like I have a great life. I've got it under control. Like, so I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I think it's very brave that you share all of this.
See, but I don't feel like it is.
I feel like it's what you're sharing about the hardest, darkest time in your life. That's not easy.
Right.
And I think that it's really special that you do that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I just, deload weeks, man. I get all
up in your head.
All up in my own head. Next week, we'll be back to the regular scheduled programming. I'll have a cycle of training underneath my belt, so I won't have to talk about garbage.
Lovely.
Let's call it. I got nothing left.
All right.
I love you guys.
Yep.
Hope you have a good rest of your week. Follow us on Instagram, both of us. Sarah's making her triumphant return to Instagram at some point.
Oh, yes. Maybe today even.
Maybe today even.
Maybe today's the day.
You never know. You don't want to miss that.
No,
it's going to be great.
Certainly not.
Follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to be more active with community building. Just want to get a group of individuals
get to
together,
know you guys,
so we can learn about each other and support each other.
Yeah. Join our Discord.
Join the Discord channel. Again, same type of thing. We try. I've got a lot of channels in there about like movies and stuff. It's just a place for us to talk not only about fitness but also about fitness. And we do a lot of Q&A. Well, we did one. We're going to do more Q&A harvesting from the Discord. So if you want to be a part of that, we would love to have you. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Have a great rest of your week. You got anything else you want to say to the people?
I think that'll cover it.
All right. See you guys. Bye.